He's spent most of his professional life elsewhere, but for astrophysicist SEYMOUR, the United Kingdom will always be home. Now living with his wife and son in Perth, Australia, SEYMOUR's concerned about the prospect of the UK leaving the EU and what a Brexit would mean for the British economy.
I'm worried about my friends and family back home and about the possibility of what kind of country I might return to one day.
SEYMOUR's asked his father to cast his vote by proxy for the UK to remain part of the European Union. Any adult British citizen who has lived in the UK within the last 15 years, wherever they live now, is entitled to a postal or proxy vote in the Brexit referendum. There are 1.3 million British people in Australia, more than in any other country except the UK itself. And although only a small proportion are actually likely to vote, the Brexit campaign's most famous face appeared on Australian television last week to woo them.
Australian TV here. I've listened very carefully actually to what friends have said in Australia, and they see the advantages of us taking back control of our immigration system.
At a marine surveying company in Perth, about a third of the workforce have British passports.
Well, most of the people that I know in Australia are British or Irish. Almost everyone that I know of wants to stay in the EU.
But based on his time in Australia, Bradley's boss is an exception.
I can see that Australia can stand up on its own 2 feet. It's perfectly resilient in its own right, and the UK would be just the same.
In some suburbs of Australia's cities, a third of the population was born in the UK. Manly, a ferry ride from the city centre, is Sydney's most British area.
I'd vote to stay.
Why?
I don't think it makes sense to leave.
I like to travel, so it might be hard sort of getting visas and things.
I'd vote to stay. I'd say we worked quite hard to get the EU together, and we should keep it that way.
Stay out of Europe. I think it's just better for the country.
You're better in than out, is my opinion, and I think most expats would probably have that opinion.
In Australia, at least, that seems to be right.
It's hardly scientific, but of the 20 or so British people I've spoken to here who are eligible to vote in the referendum, more than 4/5 say they'll back the campaign for the UK to remain part of the EU rather than leave it. If the vote in the United Kingdom is incredibly tight, then it could be people here on the other side of the world who swing it. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Sydney.